A lot has been said about this topic, and I'm not here to go into esoteric discussions or some new age ideologies. This is not also some kind of debate about what is right or wrong. Neither am I trying to convince anyone. What I say here is merely my opinion based on my personal and direct experiences. Before I tell you that you are God, I think it makes sense to ask the question, what exactly is God? Have you noticed that there are all kinds of gods, and each group claim that their own God is the right God? From generation to generation, arguments are made almost daily on whose God is the best God. We have the Christian God, the Muslim God, the Buddhist God, the spiritualist God, the Hinduist God, the sun God, the moon God, the traditionalist God, the pagan God, all kinds of gods. Even the atheists believe there is no God, which is also a kind of God, because no belief in anything is also a type of belief. So, whose God shall we choose? Well, this video is not about that. What is God, if you ask me? My answer is, I don't know. This is my very honest and simple answer. The truth is that no one really knows what God is. All every religion defines as God is merely humans' attempt to give meaning to existence, to describe what cannot be described, to define what cannot be defined, to understand what cannot be understood. Humans found themselves on this planet, and to them, there must be a reason why things are the way they are. God is man's attempt to reason the meaning of life. For without meaning, logic, or reason, life as we know it here on earth becomes utterly meaningless or absurd, to say the least. Therefore, I would say that humans made God in their own image. That is, their own understanding of what a God should be, their own imaginations, visualizations, thoughts, and feelings. So, having made God in their own image and understanding, it's important to know that it is not only based on their background, that is, their cultural, religious, or environmental backgrounds, but this image is as a result of experiences, both direct and indirect, which then further shape their thoughts, feelings, emotions, and ultimately their entire belief systems. Therefore, simply put, I would say that God is perspective. God is your perspective. An individual perceives what God is or should be through their own lens. This is why some have an angry God who punishes people and brings them all kinds of suffering for their sins and ultimately sends them to hell as judgment. Some have a poverty or poor God who encourages poverty as a virtue. So these people believe that they are blessed when they are poor, and the poor will inherit heaven. They are afraid of the idea of prosperity or material wealth because their concept of God is one that is not cool with money. Therefore, you remember the saying, the popular saying, that money is the root of all evil. Some also have a rich God, and so they love money. material things and are wealthy. They are so comfortable with the God of the rich. Some believe that God is love, and therefore you find them engaging in charitable and selfless activities, for example, the poor. The list is endless, but I'm sure you get the point now. I can imagine someone maybe asking to know what my opinion really is about what God is. Well, like I said earlier, I do not know. This is the truth. I do not know. No words are suitable to define what God is, really. But if I must, the key word here is must. If I must answer this question from a human perspective, I would say that God is nothing and everything. God is like zero. Zero is void, yet can be filled. Zero is nothing, but can be something. Zero is infinity. It has no attributes in and of itself, yet can contain all attributes. Zero has no beginning and no end. God is beyond, but also within reach. God is existence. God is life. God is nature. God is the invisible and the visible. God is the unmanifested and the manifested. And most importantly, God has no gender. God is neither a he nor a she, neither is God and it. God is all and in all. God is one. I can go on and on, but I would say very simply, for the benefit of the doubt, that God is. God simply is. So whatever you add after that is simply your own perspective. It can be God is love. And you are right. That's your perspective. God is peace. God is powerful. God is kind. God is just. God is a man. God is omnipotent. God is the universe and all whatnot. So you see that the list of attributes is endless. You simply get to choose what you add to God depending on your own perspective. God simply is. So, if God is one, if God is everything, if God is the seen and the unseen, if God is the understood and the misunderstood, if God is the describable and the indescribable, if God is all and in all, that means you are God. You just don't know it. You are God manifested. You are God in human form. You are God pretending to be human. You are God pretending to be separated from God, that is, from yourself. And why is that? It is important for God, as the one unmanifested, to create and experience life on earth as the manifested, that is, as the human, as the visible. Without this duality, that is, without God, which is the one thing, expressing itself as two things, that is, God and human, it will be impossible to create an experience. This is called duality and non-duality. God, as the absolute and the truth, requires emotions and feelings to create and sustain this physical reality. Hence, God must be human to achieve this. In other words, you are this God who forgot that it, he or she, is God in order to participate in co-creation. Now, it does not mean that as this God, you can control everything and everyone. No, this is not the point. As God manifested, you cannot do anything on your own. Your power is limited. In fact, your power is God's power. Your very existence is God's power. You could never do nor achieve any of your dreams without God. You are dependent forever on God. So this idea that you are God and can have everything or do everything as a human being, the emphasis is on as a human being. This idea is false. You are God, but somewhat limited as long as you remain in this human aging body. This is something that really, from my perspective, humbles us when we know that we are nothing by our own. This calls for great humility and infinite, tremendous gratitude. You see, just as the wave is a part of the ocean, so are you a part of God. Without this understanding, there is really no true liberation. To really know that you are God, to really understand it beyond concepts, to really believe this and know this, that you are an expression of the one true God, that is life, I can assure you is the beginning of true peace. There is no other way. It is the beginning of peace.